After arresting former Iraqi President Saddam Hussein on December 13, 2003, he was tried for 3 years and then sentenced to death by a court on November 5, 2006. And he was executed on the 30th of December 2006. Since then, Arabs could not see peace and could not sleep as they used to. The world has seen the destruction of almost all the Muslim countries, especially the Arab. On December 30th, 2006, Saddam Hussein was woken up at 3 in the morning and told that he would be hanged shortly after. Saddam was disappointed. He quietly went and took a bath and started preparing himself for hanging. Will Bardenorper, one of the 12 American guards assigned to the security of former Iraqi President Saddam Hussein, has written about the last day of Saddam Hussein's life in his book, The Prisoner in His Palace. According to Will Bardenorper, in his last days, Saddam hoped that he would not be executed. Saddam's rule ended in 2003 after ruling Iraq for more than 2 decades. Former Iraqi President Saddam Hussein was sentenced to death by an Iraqi court in November 2006 for the murder of 148 of his opponents in the city of Dajil in 1982. According to court documents, all those killed were of the Shia faith and were killed after a failed assassination attempt on Saddam Hussein. The time and place of Saddam Hussein's execution was kept a secret. Saddam was executed in a concrete chamber in an Iraqi compound known to Americans as Camp Justice in the suburb of Baghdad, the Iraqi capital. A small group of Iraqis were also present on the occasion. According to these people, when the judge was reading out the sentence shortly before Saddam Hussein was executed, Saddam was holding the Quran in his hand. Saddam later asked to give this copy of the Quran to one of his friends. Instead of wearing prisoner's clothes on the occasion of execution, 69-year-old Saddam Hussein wore a white shirt and a dark coat. Footage aired on Iraqi state TV showed a group of masked men carrying Saddam Hussein to the gallows. But the moments of the execution were not televised. After arriving at the gallows, a black cloth was placed around his head and neck. The cloth usually placed over the face of all criminals before execution. And then a noose was set. But when Saddam's executioner, when he moved to cover his head, Saddam forbade him to do so because he wanted to die without it. In a leaked video that emerged after Saddam's execution, it was seen that when the noose was placed around Saddam's neck, he appeared to smile and shout, "Do you consider that bravery?" After which the bystanders, one of them shouted to him, "Go to hell." To which Saddam, who used to accuse his enemies of destroying his country, replied, "Is that hell Iraq?" According to BBC World correspondent John Simpson, in the video of Saddam's execution that was released, he appeared very calm and did not beg for forgiveness. In this video, Saddam was seen being hanged while reciting Quranic verses. Iraq's national security advisor at the time, Mahfouz al-Arbai, was also present at the gallows. He later told the BBC that Saddam went quietly to the gallows. "We took him to the gallows. He was shouting some slogans. He was too broken." Muwafaq al-Rabai is the same person who was photographed in 2013, showing a bronze statue of Saddam in his house with the same rope around his neck that used to hang Saddam Hussein. After this picture came out in public, people from different countries also made bids to get this rope, but Muwafaq al-Arbai said that he intends to keep the statue of Saddam and this rope in the museum. After Saddam's execution, Photos of Saddam's corpse were also broadcast on Iraqi TV, in which he was wearing his coat instead of a shroud, and the body was wrapped in a white sheet. When Saddam was hanged and his body was brought out, people in the crowd outside started spitting and abusing him. In his book, The Prisoner in His Palace, Bardenorper writes that one of Saddam's 12 bodyguards tried to stop the crowd from doing so, but was pulled back by his colleagues. Adam Rotherson, one of those 12 bodyguards, told Bardenorper that when Saddam was executed, we felt we had betrayed him. We used to think of ourselves as murderers. We felt as if we had killed a person who was very close to us. After arresting former Iraqi President Saddam Hussein on December 13, 2003, he was tried for 3 years and then sentenced to death by a court on November 5, 2006. And he was executed on the 30th of December 2006. Since then, Arabs could not see peace and could not sleep as they used to. World has seen the destruction of almost all the Muslim countries, especially the Arab. Ramsey Clark, a former U.S. Attorney General, was ordered to leave the courtroom before Saddam Hussein's trial was handed down because he handed the judge a note that read, "This trial is a farce."
A fair trial is impossible.